Hello, fellow gamers. Cryptic Panther back with another rant. So, this is maybe not really a rant. I don't know. Yes, it is and it isn't. IGN today, well, I guess yesterday, the articles were released yesterday, the 19th. I'm recording this on the 20th. You're hearing this on the 21st. So, 2 days ago, for anyone that's listening to this on the 21st of June, developers say Twitch is hurting single player games. So these two articles, I'm going to link them. There's two different articles. Actually, there's going to be three articles linked, but there's two IGN articles linked in the description and one from Forbes. So the title of this one is Developers Say Twitch is Hurting Single Player Games. So it says, at every video game event I've been to in the past 6 months, including this year's E3, I've asked a wide variety of game developers about the future of single player games. Even though we're still getting enormous single player successes like God of War, it is undeniably easier to monetize multiplayer experiences, and I think that's how this fear of the death of single player games has shown up in pockets of the gaming community. Now, this is by Alana Pierce, and this other article I'm going to reference is by Nick Stanglianglo. Stan Anglo. I can't pronounce his fucking name. Who cares? Look at the title when you read the article. So that's the first part of her little story here. So they're going on saying that, that all these multiplayer games going to be, and how Twitch is hurting single player games. The live stream. So it says here, let me see what it says. The notion goes back to 2011 when Mark Cerny said, the lead architect of PS4, saying, right now you sit in your living room and you're playing a game by yourself. We call it a single player mission or the single player campaign. In a world with Facebook, I just don't see this going to last. Well, sorry, Mark, and to this individual that's saying that single player may be dead. It's not. Look at the fucking games that Sony are putting out, and I'm going to get to that in a second. Single player games that are selling fucking massive numbers. God of War and Detroit Become Human sold fucking good numbers. Those two single player games. Two of them, single player games. So I don't think single player is really dead. But we're going to continue on here. So it says, let me see, part of the girl, it says, the fear of decrease of single player games isn't too irrational. Many developers from indie to AAA have told me Twitch is having a really significant impact on what game studios are choosing to make. I don't think so. I don't think any of them give a fuck about Twitch and what games they're going to make. One person I spoke to is Rami Ishmael from Vlomber. I'm not sure who the company that is. One of the most under-discussed effects of Twitch, YouTube Let's Plays, the whole content creator ecosystem in the games industry, is how the marketing impact of those platforms has affected what kind of games developers make. Why would any major studio outside of a first party try to sell consoles, or a studio with a reputation for single-player games bother with an immersive single-player campaign? Why? Because single-player games are fucking awesome. Story-based games are fucking awesome. Immersive games are fucking awesome. Yes, multiplayer games can be as well. But you can't say that, why would anyone want to make a single-player game? Why? Because people that make games like fucking making games. Fuck. Rami's point about the first parties is an important one, but get that out of the way. Of course, Sony's going to keep funding single-player, narrative-based experiences when those experiences are selling hardware, maintaining platform loyalty, and encouraging revenue from ongoing subscription service like PlayStation Plus. Single-player games have no bearing on PlayStation Plus. Multiplayer games do. So right there, that line is crap. Because you don't need PlayStation Plus to play single-player games. So that part of the comment that part of their little story here makes no sense. Hardware sales, maintaining platform loyalty, and encouraging revenue from ongoing subscription services. They slate 3, and 2 of them are real. But this narrative-based games are being made by people that want to make those games. It's not just because that Sony's funding them. Well, yeah, I mean, it's partly, I guess. But also, story-based games have been around for a long time, and there's game companies that are known for it. Whether Naughty Dog is a Sony company or not, if Naughty Dog was with another company and successful as they are now, if they were with Xbox or if they were an open party company and they were successful making single-player games, they're going to keep fucking making single-player games. So I'm not going to go through the whole article here because it goes on and 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 on some more. But one part I'm going to mention, though, is it says, let me see, and it's worth mentioning that every game in the top 10 selling games in 2017 was multiplayer focused, with the exception of Breath of the Wild and Horizon Zero Dawn. So yes, we're even going to mention Horizon Zero Dawn is one of the fucking best-selling games of last year. And so the Forbes article, open it up, and it's, here are the best-selling games of 2017 so far. I'm not sure how old this article is. It was December of last year. So Horizon Zero Dawn was number 10. So Call of Duty World War II, yes, multiplayer focused, with a single-player campaign, but Call of Duty's multiplayer. Destiny 2, yes, multiplayer. NBA 2K18 is a single-player game and multiplayer game. It's not just a multiplayer game. Madden NFL 18. Again, a single-player game, and it has a fucking campaign in it. It's a single-player game with multiplayer options. Because I had a Madden game a few years ago, and I played a lot of single-player. I didn't play online because I wasn't very good. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands. Yes, online multiplayer, but can be played single-player. Breath of the Wild mentioned single-player. Grand Theft Auto 5, massive first single player. I keep wanting to say first player. Massive first or single player story. Massive single player story. Only came out with single player story to begin with. There was no online when Grand Theft Auto 5 first launched. Boom. There's another game. For Honor. Who gives a fuck? It has single player, but it has multiplayer. It's not multiplayer only. And who plays For Honor anyways? Injustice 2, I don't play it. Don't know. Whatever. It's online fighting game. But Horizon Zero Dawn, single player. So yes, out of the top 10, some of those games are heavy focus multiplayer, but they're not all multiplayer games only. A lot of people probably play NBA 2K18 and Madden games that don't play online. Grand Theft Auto 5, yes, most people now play online because most people probably played the goddamn story. It sold 60 million fucking copies. But they say that those only 2 of the top 10 are not multiplayer games. Well, yes, those other games have a multiplayer ability and a single player side, but they're not basically just multiplayer games. Except for Call of Duty and Destiny. Those are pretty much multiplayer. Because I don't think anyone really plays the campaign in Call of Duty. So they kind of contradicted themselves a little bit by referencing that article, and they didn't really go into explain, they're multiplayer focused, but they're not just multiplayer games. But I mean, a lot of single player games have multiplayer. Last of Us, Uncharted, those are single player, story driven, immersive games, but yet they have a multiplayer side of them. And a lot of people like those multiplayer games. I usually don't play them, but they're there, so a lot of games have it. So stop fucking writing bullshit stories. But then they contradict themselves. This Nick Stanliango guy. I'm going to pronounce his name wrong. I know I am. You can make fun of me all you want. I don't care. This isn't the name enunciation channel. This is a rant. So, Red Dead Redemption 2 publisher defends single-player games. So they had one article saying Twitch is destroying single-player games. Then they write an article where they're defending, with Red Dead 2 Redemption publisher, saying that they're defending single-player games. With traditional single-player game studios like Bethesda Softworks and BioWare showcasing President World multiplayer games at E3 this year, single-player only games viability is once again a topic of discussion. No shit, Nick. Did you not read, what's her name's, Alana Pierce's fucking article? They probably sat across from each other, each writing their own article, so they each had a fucking something to post and contradict each other? God. Despite his company's most popular game ever, benefiting from multiplayer mode, Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick, I think I pronounced that right, still sees value in single player experiences. Speaking to GamesBeat, Zelnick said he appreciates high quality single player games with strong stories and characters. He's not deaf to all the talk of single player games dying off, but he is not buying into that line of thinking. And thank you very much, because Take-Two, the Grand Theft Auto 5 was an amazing story. I loved it. I played it. I'll probably end up playing it again. Red Dead was awesome. Red Dead Redemption 2 is probably going to be a fucking kick-ass game of the year. Runner-up or potential winner. Because, I mean, God of War to me right now is my game of the year. Yeah, so IGN trying to start this whole battle of, oh, single-player games are dead. And then they turn around and say, no. Take-Two, which makes some of the biggest games, Red Dead, Grand Theft Auto series, and, well, Red Dead 2. So, yeah, they defend single-player games. So, I don't know if IGN get their wires crossed, or one article is supposed to be printed one day and one another, but they look kind of stupid. They're writing one article basically saying, oh, single-player games are dead. But then they post an article saying, oh, no. One of the big massive publishers that released one of the best games in the last 5 years, and potentially one of the games of the year this year. No, they're defending single-player games. How about we stop this single-player, multiplayer argument and just encourage developers and publishers to put their best foot forward in a genre that they're best known for. We don't want Naughty Dog making a fucking Battle Royale game. And we don't want someone who's basically only does multiplayer games to try to give us a massive story, character-driven, story-created fucking single-player experience whenever they don't make them. If you're good at what you're good at, just keep fucking doing it. If you like single-player games, play single-player games. If you like multiplayer games, play multiplayer games. And guess what? If you're like me and like them both, fucking play them both. God, IGN, you piss me off.